And welcome back. I'm with Tom Rinaldi, and a champion with the Warriors and the Defensive Player of the Year. Welcome to Wimbledon, Draymond Green.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What do you make of the place?
It's incredible. Walking through here and, just knowing all the history that's, taking place here. I mean, it's like one of the classiest sporting events I've ever been to by far. It's great energy. I've really enjoyed it today.
Here visiting a few spots for the NBA to sort of try to grow the game here in Europe, but you had the opportunity, barely on the grounds, to talk to Sam Querrey and to meet him, the Giant Killer, after the victory against Andy Murray. What's your take on that?
I mean, it was great. He was all smiles, very happy as he should be. I think, in looking in what he did last year, that was kind of one of those things where, he's kind of getting into it and like, all right, like I'm taking, some big guys out. You can tell this year he's more like, all right, I took him out, now it's time to finish the deal. So it's exciting to see. What he just accomplished was tough, coming in here, #1 ranked Andy Murray in his native land, and take him out, like, that's not an easy task.
That's a heck of a home court advantage for Murray.
Absolutely, and they were cheering for him every point. They were cheering for him loud.
What do you make of the sport of tennis as compared to basketball, the idea of being out there on a court by yourself?
I always look at it and say, man, like, that's tough. You're out there by yourself. Every mistake is on you. It's like you can't blame anyone. But then I look at basketball, and sometimes you may want that, like, well, if I could have just threw that pass, I would have made the shot, and you think about it in that sense too. But when I sit back and I look at the game of tennis and basketball, I do think there are some similarities. When you're talking lateral quickness, you're talking anticipation. Sometimes you'll see a guy take off sprinting the other way, anticipating that the ball is going there. And that's a lot like basketball, especially on the defensive end. So, I think there's some similarities, but it's I think it can get quite challenging out there by yourself.
Yeah. Similarities even in how they study their opponents, right? Imagine you as a defensive specialist, too. He always goes to his left, or his left is weak, push him to his right. And that's how they are. Go to the backhand. He doesn't have a backhand.
Absolutely.
He always hits cross-court. That sort of studying goes into the sport.
Absolutely. And you can see it, as you watch a game, watch a match. You'll see a guy constantly try to put the ball where a guy has to go backhand. One thing, Steve Kerr actually always uses a tennis analogy with us. He said, hey, man, sometimes you got guys just hitting the ball back and forth, and then you end up on your heels. We want to be the guy that's putting them on their heels. He says it all the time, so I can relate it to that.
I like that. It's like own the baseline, right? You want to own the baseline.
Absolutely.
You mentioned Steve Kerr. There's some dramatic scenes we sometimes see in players' boxes in terms of their coaches and how they react. If you could play this sport, Draymond, and you could have any coach of the coaches you've had in your career in your box, who do you think could handle that, and who do you think couldn't?
Well, I've been blessed to have some great coaches in my career who understand how I am as a competitor and work well with me. So it's hard to pick one. But if I just had to pick one, probably for sure would be Coach Izzo, because he knows me so well. And, the way we operate with each other, it may be perfect for a tennis situation.
Yeah, although there's no coaching from the box, so the coach has to sit there, be restrained.
That's
just
true.
Cheer you on in a positive. See, I'd be afraid Coach Izzo would get.
I was just about to, Coach Izzo wouldn't work, because there is no coaching, which I didn't think about.
He's as emotional as you are out there sometimes.
Yeah, none of my coaches may not work, because even as chill as Steve is, he gets pretty intense also.
Sometimes we see an interesting and intense dynamic between tennis parents and their children who play. For those who don't know Mary Baber's your mom and what she's like during a basketball game and or on Twitter while you're playing, what do you think your mom would be like in a center court match setting?
Yeah, no way she can operate in this setting. It's too quiet for her. She'd start yelling in the middle of a point going on. I don't think she can handle this setting at all. But I'm not so sure I can either. So I guess I got it honest.
I don't know. I think you're doing okay here right now.
And quickly on the NBA, a lot of free agent moves have been happening, a lot of rosters, but you guys have stayed intact. If you could pick one moment after winning the title, which has made it real to you, Draymond, I don't know what the first one meant to you, what would it be?
If I had to pick one moment, the best moment for me is always, it's always the champagne celebration after. You know, when you're going through the playoffs and especially the finals, it just feel like a weight's on you. Like it's hard. It feel like a clamp is on your lung. It's harder to breathe. Like you just feel the weight of the world, and then you win it, and it's just like you just relax. And so to spray that champagne is just like a release of all that tension and just enjoying each other. So that's always my favorite moment, and especially, you know, being that it was my second time, seeing guys win for a first time like a Kevin Durant, like a David West, JaVale McGee, all those guys for their first time and seeing the emotion on their face. Like, I enjoy seeing them enjoy it a lot more than, you know, for my personal experience. Like, just watching them was amazing.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And this is how he spent his summer vacation after a championship. Wimbledon. Draymond Green, good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Thank you.